Hello and welcome, McCastle here. Today we're going to take a look at one of the mods that I would consider essential for any mod pack that I put together. And part of the ones that I install just about in everything I do. So let's dive right in here. Today we're going to look at the Waystones mod. So this is a Waystone. There's a few ways to get one of these. First off is here in the wild, you'll find these just kind of spawn randomly around. And to activate it, you just right click. If you click on it, it'll show you any additional ones that you have done. So by clicking on it, it takes you right to this one. So I'd set this one up previously. And that's how you move from one to the other. Now, in survival, it'll take experience points in order to teleport. Depending how far away your waystones are. I think if they're really close together, it doesn't take any. A little bit farther is 1, 2, and then up to 3 experience levels. Anyway, so let's take a look at some of the other ways we can find these waystones. So the next way you're going to be able to find them is in villages, like this one here. They'll spawn in these little kind of pads here. And again, just by right clicking, it'll assign it a random name, and then you'll see it is now part of my list. I can teleport back to this one, or again here to the village. And so these will spawn in, I believe every village, though I'm not 100% sure on that one. It might just be most of them, but this one here. Additionally, the other way to get one of these is you can actually craft these, right? So you don't have to just find them. So there are 3 variations to the waystone. So if we grab these here. So there's the standard one that you saw. There's also the vine one. And there's a sandstone version of it. So kind of fit in with whatever build you're building. So the recipes for these are as seen here: 3 obsidian, 3 stone bricks, and a warp stone. So let's talk about this warp stone here. It's crafted by creating 4 purple dye, 4 ender pearls, and 1 emerald in the middle. The mossy one is either taking a normal waystone and adding 3 vines, or by creating it using 3 mossy stone bricks, which, if you didn't know, you can create with vines or with moss blocks. And then lastly, we have the sandy waystone, which is just using chiseled sandstone with the same recipe. Now, additionally, you can craft what's called a sharestone, which is essentially a waystone that is, let's call this one blank. A waystone that is tied to a specific color network. So this is a blank one, so it's tied to any blank sharestones. And as you can see, there are colors for each of the different 16 colors available in Minecraft, right? So if we had lime here, if we used lime here, we could call this lime 1. And if I do this over here, call this lime 2. And say over here I grab a cyan one, cyan 3, and cyan 4, right? So if I click on this one, you'll see that there are no other destinations because there's no other sharestones that are blank. But if I click on line 1, I can go to either line 1 or line 2. Back. Cyan. I can go cyan 3. Cyan 4. So, share stones are really great for, multiplayer servers because you don't have to have discovered it. These ones, you have to click on this to discover it first, and if even if you've discovered it and someone else hasn't, you can teleport to it, but they can't, right? All right, so let's talk about the recipe for the sharestone. So it is a same, cost, right? It's just a different crafting recipe. So instead of doing the 3 like a pyramid, you do it across the top with that warp stone, and that'll create your sharestone. And then by adding any color with it, you can create that color, right? So a dye will give you whatever that is. Next, we have a port stone, which a port stone is a stone that can be used to teleport to any activated waystones, but you can't teleport back to it. So it's kind of a one-way only. So I can teleport to mine, put that down here. So the port stone wasn't named and isn't available. So it's kind of like an exit point. Say you were creating a dungeon or something like that. It's a one-way waystone. And its recipe is like this, essentially the same as a waystone, except for use polished andesite as the base instead of obsidian. Alright, next we have a warp plate. And the warp plate is essentially a pressure plate that you stand on, and it teleports you to another warp plate that you have the attuned shard for. So how we create that is you use 4 warp dust, flint, and 4 stone bricks. The warp dust is just take an amethyst shard and ender pearl together, and it will create that warp dust for you. Now, when you first place this down, at least in creative, it'll have your flint here and your 4 warp dust, and they'll combine together to give you an attuned shard, which is then attuned with that one. And I've already set one up over here, so if I stand on this, I've actually set it to go back. Now, so let's show you that. So here, place this down. See, it has that stuff in there. Ooh, it creates an attuned shard. Now, if I come in here, let's find some flint. And you can actually create more attuned shards if you want more than one plate to come back here, right? So let's we can actually create these in sort of a chain if you wanted. So you create this, it'll create another one. And then let's say you come over here. I want this to take me back to the first one. And I want, where'd it go? Right there. That second one to take us here. This last one takes us 7. I don't know if I did that right. Let's test it out. And takes the second one. Takes the third one. And that takes this one. There we go. Alright, sometimes I can do it right. Anyway, so that is about it for Waystones. Again, some pretty cool different item or blocks here. They do some pretty cool things. Some interesting ways that you could set this up. Waystone room or sharestones or warp plates. And if you're creating a mod pack and you want to kind of limit how these are used, you could create it where there's only warp plates can be used, or I don't know, something like that, right? Anyway, let's get on to a couple more things I forgot to do here. So one more thing with the warp stone is you can actually charge it. So if you see in here, you can add mending to it, but the warp stone actually allows you to teleport from anywhere back to any waystone that you've activated. So if I hold down, it'll bring up my list of waystones. And boom, it'll take me back here. So that's awesome. And then additionally, you can create a return scroll, a bound scroll, and a warp scroll. So warp scrolls is 3 paper, 4 nuggets, a purple dye, and an ender pearl. And essentially, it's a limited one-time use of the warp stone. The warp stone will slowly build back its durability. So it's kind of like a timed thing, so you can't just jump around a lot. You have to wait for it to build back up, right? But the warp scroll is again creative, so it doesn't go away, but it's a one-time use thing. Now you can also do return scroll, which is a little bit cheaper. It's only 2 gold nuggets, purple dye, and 3 paper. So again, a lot cheaper because it doesn't use the ender pearl. And essentially, this just takes you to the closest waystone. There's no picking. And then a bound scroll is when you can bind to a specific waystone, which is nice because this is a way to actually, go back to a specific waystone you want without, again, having to use a lot. So the recipe for that is, again, similar to the other one, but instead of 4 nuggets, it uses 3 dye and still uses the ender pearl. But you can also share these bound scrolls with other players on a server. And then they can then teleport using it to any waystone that, even if they haven't activated it, right? So it's a quick way to share a waystone with someone. All right, that's it for this one. Quick look at this wonderful mod. Go check it out. Support the modders, and again, feel free to ask any questions, post any comments, or if there's a mod out there that you think you want reviewed, let me know, and I'd love to check it out. Anyway, thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you next time.